Okay, you want to know a secret? There's a multi-billion-dollar industry hiding in plain sight. Seriously, most people they look right past it. But it's quietly creating some serious wealth for first-time business owners. Let's get into it. So, let's say you've worked hard, you've managed to save up 100 grand or so, and you're done. You're done building someone else's dream, and you're ready to build your own. You're hunting for something stable, something profitable, something essential. So, what's the move? Yup, that guy, pest control. I know. It doesn't exactly scream glamorous startup, right? But just stick with me here, because I promise you, the numbers behind this so-called boring business are probably the most exciting thing you're going to see all year. So what makes this industry such a powerhouse? It has nothing to do with bugs, really. It's all about the absolute beauty of the business model. Look, this quote says it all. It's from an investment analysis of Rollins. That's one of the giants in this space, a publicly traded company. This isn't just me talking. We're talking about an industry with compelling economics that has Wall Street's full attention. All right, this right here, this is the magic number, 85%. That is the chunk of revenue that comes from recurring contracts. I mean, just think about that for a second. It's a subscription model. It's Netflix for your house, but instead of streaming movies, you're stopping spiders. Your customers sign up, and that revenue just keeps hitting the bank account month after month. That, my friends, is the holy grail, predictable cash flow. But that rock-solid stability, that's just the foundation. On top of that, you have these massive, unstoppable trends. Investors call them tailwinds. And they're just pushing the whole industry forward. And here's one of the biggest drivers. You can see it right here. As the planet gets warmer, we get milder winters. That means pests don't die off like they used to. Nope. Their breeding seasons get longer, and they start showing up in places they never were before. It's a strange thing to say, but yeah, a warming climate is literally making the market for pest control bigger every single year. Okay, so you've got stability, you've got growth, but now we get to the aha moment. This is the part that can turn a really good business into a life-changing amount of money. And it's all about how these businesses are bought and sold. So when you go to buy a small pest control business, it's valued on something called seller's discretionary earnings, or SDE. Forget the complicated accounting stuff for a second. SDE is just the total pot of money the owner gets to take home. It's their salary, plus the business's profit, plus maybe some perks like a company car. It's the real number. Now, just focus on that top line. A solid residential business, the exact kind you'd want to buy, sells for about 2.5 to 3.5 times its SDE. Let's just call it 3x to keep it simple. That's your price. You're buying a cash machine for 3 times what it pays the owner in a single year. That's a fantastic deal, okay? Remember that number, 3x. But this is where the magic trick happens. When you grow that business and you get it ready to sell a few years down the line, you're not selling to another guy like you. Oh no, you're selling to the big fish, the private equity groups, the regional giants, and they don't care about SDE. They play a totally different game with a different rule book. They value companies using something called EBITDA, which is basically just its raw operational profit. Now look at these numbers. Once you push that business into the $1 to $5 million profit range, the valuation jumps to almost 7x. Do you see it? You buy a business valued at roughly 3 times what the owner takes home, and then you sell it for 7 times its operational profit. That gap between the 3 and the 7, that's the entire game. It's called multiple arbitrage, and it is how people make fortunes doing this. Think about it like this. It's like you're buying up individual rental condos one by one, right? And each one is valued pretty simply based on the rent it brings in. But then, after you've collected a bunch, you're not selling them off one by one. You're selling the entire apartment building to a massive real estate fund, and they pay a huge premium for the whole thing. That's exactly what's happening here. Okay, let's take a deep breath. That's the exciting part, and that potential is 100% real. But this isn't a get-rich-quick scheme. It is a real business. So let's bring it back to earth and talk about the realities and the risks. And look, this isn't just theory. It happens all the time. Big regional players like Action Termite in Phoenix are constantly on the hunt, buying up smaller, successful local businesses like Dynamic Pest Control. You're not just building a job for yourself. You're building an asset that these bigger companies desperately want to buy. But we have to be crystal clear about the challenges. They are very real. Number 1, customer churn. That 85% recurring revenue is your everything, which means every single customer who cancels is a painful hit. Losing just a couple customers a month doesn't sound like a big deal, but it adds up, and it can absolutely crush your growth. 2. Seasonality. Bugs are slower in the winter, which means your phone rings less. You have to manage your cash to get through those lean months. And finally, regulations. You're dealing with serious chemicals here, stuff that's regulated by the EPA and the state. One screw-up can mean massive fines. You have to be on top of your game. Okay, so you see the opportunity, you understand the risks. The last question is, how in the world do you actually do this? How do you turn that 100 grand in your savings account into $1 million business? Right, so how do you get the money? Well, remember that beautiful, predictable, subscription-like revenue we talked about? Turns out, banks are absolutely in love with it. It just screams low risk to them. This means it's way, way easier to get a loan from the SBA to buy a pest control business than it is for, say, a new restaurant where sales are a total guess. Here's the playbook. Step 1, you take your $100,000 and that becomes your 10% down payment on a business worth about $1 million. Step 2, the Small Business Administration. The SBA helps guarantee a bank loan for the other 90%. Step 3, and this is the best part, the business itself makes the money to pay back its own loan. And step 4, you still get to pay yourself a nice salary and you keep whatever profit is left over. So what does that mean for your 100 grand? Well, in your very first year, after the business pays its own loan payment and after it pays your salary, it's totally realistic that the leftover profit could give you a 45% cash-on-cash return on your initial investment. Go try and find a stock that can do that. This is the incredible power of using leverage to buy a cash-flowing asset. So there you have it. We've seen the subscription-like model, we've seen the crazy arbitrage opportunity between the multiples you buy at and the multiples you sell at, and we've seen the clear path to financing the whole thing. It's not sexy, it's not a tech company, but maybe, just maybe, this boring business is the most exciting opportunity you've been looking for all along.